Peyton Manning is widely regarded as one of the smartest on-field minds to ever play the quarterback position. It takes a lot to truly fool him. There's only a handful of stories throughout his near 2-decade-long career that show him getting fooled. Most notably, Ed Reed's interception where he intentionally played a coverage wrong. As impressive as that play was, that was it. It was one play. This is the story of the time that Manning got fooled for an entire half. This is the story of the time that the Raiders, 100% legally, stole his signs. In 1999, Peyton Manning made the leap to become one of the best quarterbacks in football. In his second season, he made the Pro Bowl. He finished inside the top 4 in passer rating, passing yards, and passing touchdowns, and he guided the Colts to a 13-3 record, first place in the AFC East, and a first-round bye. And in the first week of the 2000 season, Manning was picking up right where he left off, throwing for 273 yards and a touchdown in a 27-14 victory. Entering Week 2's matchup against the Oakland Raiders, everyone thought that Indianapolis, a team that won 7 of their 8 home games the year before, would win. The Colts were favored by 6.5 points, and Manning was a big reason why. Of course, there was some controversy beforehand, as for some inexplicable reason, Raiders' 2-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle and former first-round pick Darrell Russell decided to call Manning overrated. In the week leading up to the game, he said, "You can get into Manning's head," although a lot of people pump him up to be one of the major quarterbacks. If you look at his track record, he can't win the big game. Why you would provoke one of the best quarterbacks in the game like that, I'm not sure. But in the first half, Manning clearly used that bulletin board material to his advantage. During that first half, Manning was on a tear. The Colts scored a touchdown on each of their first 3 drives of the game, and they led 24-7 at the half. On their first 5 drives in the half, Indy never punted or turned the ball over, picking up 21 first downs. And Manning had a stretch where he completed 14 consecutive passes. In the first half, Manning went 25 for 30, completing over 83% of his passes. He threw for 238 yards and tacked on 2 touchdowns. At that point, it was arguably the best game he ever played as a pro. But during that first half, Raiders linebacker Greg Biekart noticed something. Biekart was a veteran at this point. He was drafted in 1993 and became the team's starting middle linebacker in 1994. And he was an anchor on that defense, starting every game from 1997 to 99. Once again, he was starting at the middle linebacker spot for this one, and he was starting to figure Manning out. In the first half, he was hearing numbers in the 50s, and sensing that the Colts were going to run the ball. Then, they ran the ball. Biekart tried giving pointers to the defense to listen to Manning's signals, but it didn't help too much, since it's tough to make adjustments like that on the fly when you might not have the right personnel in the game. But during that 12-minute break at halftime, Biekart gathered the defense around, grabbed a marker, and went to the whiteboard to write down some notes. If Manning called the number 52, 53, or 54, it was a draw play. If he called 18 or 19, it was a run to the outside. If he called the number 50 or 58, or any number in the high 50s, it was a counter. Every other number was a decoy. If he called any other number, it was a pass play. Sure enough, everything changed. In the second half, the Colts got nothing going. On their first 4 drives of the half, the Colts turned it over twice, and they picked up just 21 yards of offense. Manning went 8 for 18 in the second half with 2 interceptions, and the Colts only had 10 minutes of possession that entire half. And the Raiders, down 24-7 at the half, scored on each of their first 5 drives of the half to take a 38-24 lead. Oakland would eventually win the game 38-31. In the first half, Peyton Manning's passer rating was 121.9. In the second half, it was just 47.9, with a lot of those numbers inflated from coming late in the fourth. What Biekart did was so incredible that overnight, the Colts completely changed their offensive system. Offensive coordinator Tom Moore said afterwards that they changed the language to prevent anything like this from ever happening again. But this win by Oakland turned out to be a big one. They finished the season at 12-4, 1 game ahead of the Denver Broncos for the AFC West crown and a first-round bye. With the loss, since they got swept by Denver, Oakland becomes a wild card, and they wouldn't get to host the AFC Championship like they eventually did. Greg Biekart did what very few people have ever done in the NFL. He outsmarted Peyton Manning and completely stole his signs. Special thanks to all our Patreon supporters for helping out on the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron in the description below.